What's up, Lego builders? Welcome back to Coconut Brick Studios for maybe the final week of building the Battle of Jabiim in Lego. I'm kind of excited for this week, but kind of not. I'm excited to get more progress done, but I can also feel my motivation this week just isn't where I would like it to be to work on the mock. So we'll see what actually gets done. I'm going to be working on the roof of the base, getting some water silos in, getting the last floor tiled off, which is kind of the roof, and then also finishing up the terrain down below. If you're excited to see what this week has in store, don't forget to execute Order 66 on that like button. And if you're new to the channel, watching for the first time, consider subscribing so you don't miss out on future updates. I decided the best thing to do would be to start the week by finishing the terrain. It's pretty easy and will allow me to potentially finish up the whole section this episode. Plus, I'm not very motivated this week, like I said earlier. I had to force myself to start building. So starting with something easy like this might turn around my mood. I can feel my motivation for Jabiim slipping away as the series comes to a close and I start to look ahead to new projects. I got pretty much all of that terrain put in. What I got to do next is plate and tile it off, which is a bit of a problem because this is all the wedge plate I have left and all the tile I have left, which I just feel like probably isn't enough to cover all this, which is unfortunate, but I can just order some more in, and I'll talk about ordering stuff in a little bit because I had some very important parts that were absolutely critical to this mock that I completely forgot about until last week. But before I get to that, I want to talk about one more landscape related thing, and that is this cave. So you know there's that little light in there that turns on and stuff and illuminates it. Originally, the light box that turns this on and off was inside of here, and I just left it in there. I was like, oh, that'll work perfectly. And then I went to put the roof on, and I was like, wait a second. If I put this terrain on, how am I going to be able to reach in there and turn that light on? So I actually had to bring the wire up through this right here. You can see there's a little hole right there. The wire comes up there, and then in this little rock section, can actually pull this off, and there we have control box with the switch, so that gives me much easier access to that, so I can turn it on and off without having to tear up any of this plate. And I've got this cool little rock feature that helps bring the terrain up to the level of the cave entrance, which happened to be a little bit taller than this area. This isn't 100% finished. There are a few of the angles that I don't really like, namely this spot right here. I don't really like how these slopes just kind of pop up here and then stop. That doesn't really mirror any kind of natural slope or something you would see in nature, so I'm gonna have to rework that. The reason it's so tall is because the end of the control box is right there and it sticks up quite a bit above these bricks, so this was the only thing that was tall enough to cover it. Now to talk about the missing pieces. So throughout this series, I've been working away on the mock, and the first couple of episodes I really focused in on these Nimbus commandos because I wanted to get them built, figure out what their design was going to look like, figure out what parts I needed for them, and then I just completely forgot about it. This was probably going to be one of the final updates, and I just barely realized like they're not even finished. I didn't even have all of them built. So I hurried and put another two together. I did buy this new style of leg on accident. I didn't realize it was more of a azure light blue, which is not really what I was looking for. I was looking for something a little bit darker like this, but I am going to have to end up using at least one of these legs. I did buy some more blue ones. I have 5 more coming, which means I'll have enough to replace 2 of these legs with the correct color, which means I'll only have one with the weird legs, and I'll try and hide him in the back somewhere, maybe have him on the ground or buried. I'm going for a total of 8 commandos, counting Alto Stratus. So we're gonna have 7 regulars and then Alto, which he was another person I completely forgot about. As of right now, this is all that I have for Alto Stratus: a cape, a torso, and a shield. I guess I do have a sword somewhere lying, but the important things were the face and the hair because they needed to be, somewhat unique to him and somewhat accurate. I did thankfully find an answer for the head and hair on the same Bricklink store that I got these legs, and the rest of the wedge plates and tiles had a Thor minifigure whose hair and face pretty closely resembled what Alto Stratus looks like. It's not exactly like it, but when I get it in, I'll kind of discuss why I ended up going with it. Anyways, that gets you all caught up with Jabiim. What I'm going to do next is cover up the top of this and build that top area. There's supposed to be like some kind of little round metal thing. I don't really know what it is, so I'm going to have to look at some more reference material for that. The top is going to be pretty simple, a waist-high wall running around the outside with tile on the inside. The only fixed additions up here will be a hatch in the center that leads down to the lower floors and some round storage silos. Anything else will just be added in later. I'm thinking about maybe adding a small awning as a makeshift guard station with some equipment. Let's take a look at this roof. I wanted there to be like a little rooftop patio area. Patio is just a terrible word for the top of a military base, but I'm blanking on a better word right now. That's how it looks in the comics, and then you've just got this little hatch right here that leads down into the second floor, and then from there you can get down to the first floor. Probably have like some clones up here on guard or firing down on the droids. I still need to cover all of these studs with tiles. Over here in the corner we have a bunch of tanks. I like to imagine these are different sized water tanks and for holding water or different liquids for the base. I think they look really cool and add some nice detail to the rest of the base and just that top area. So I also got some tiling done over here. I ran out of tile, unfortunately. There's going to be another update. I've still got to finish off that. Got to finish that. A couple more structures I want to build for the base. But for the most part, it's pretty much done. You can see I've started to place everything and get the blocking down where everything's going to go. So we're going to have the tank here. We're going to have containers and tents running along this side, with the generator here in the back. And then I built a couple of silos, maybe more storage silos. I honestly don't know. I just needed something else to give this base a little bit more substance and just make it look more realistic. I felt like it was a little bit too sparse with just this stuff. Another thing I really like about these circular storage silos is they give this base almost like a farm-like vibe, to where like you can clearly tell this wasn't made for a military base, but the clone troopers came and basically transformed it into the base to the best of their abilities. So I like the idea that this looks like it was once something else. There's still a lot to be done, but next week I'm going to finish off everything. I'm excited to see what this looks like once it's all finished. All that being said, it's time to hit the outro. Another week down, and I am just slugging through this mock. Next week is definitely going to be the last week for building Jabiim. I'm going to do whatever it takes, and if I finish and I run out of pieces, or there's something I'm like, oh, maybe I could add this, so be it. You know, it's just something that I'll just have to leave out. I don't think we'll have too many of those, because I was able to, you know, achieve a lot of the vision I had for this mock. At some point you got to just cut yourself off and be like, you know, this has to finish by this date no matter what. If you guys like this episode, don't forget to let me know down below in the comments, and I will catch you guys next time. But until then, happy building.